The day I lost everything was supposed to be like any other. It was a rainy evening, my father was running late from work, and my younger sister Lily and I were playing in the living room. The smell of dinner filled the air, and the sound of my mother's laughter echoed as she joked with us. For a brief moment, life was perfect. Ethan sits on the floor, carefully piecing together a toy with Lily, his innocent eyes wide with joy. His mother watches them with a warm smile. The door creaks open and his father, Michael, steps inside, soaked from the rain. He drops his briefcase and rushes to hug them, his presence filling the room with a warmth and love that Ethan thought would last forever. I remember the way my father smiled that night, the way he hugged me, like nothing could ever go wrong. That was the last time I saw him alive. Just as the family settles in for dinner, the sound of screeching tires pierces the night. Michael's face changes in an instant, his instincts kicking in. He pushes Ethan and Lily toward their mother, shouting for them to move. But before anyone can react, the crash happens. Glass shatters. The walls tremble. The screech of metal on metal deafens the room. The last thing Ethan sees before the darkness takes over is his father's face, frozen in fear as the car barrels into their home. The sound of the collision and the horrifying sight of his father being struck sears itself into Ethan's memory forever. Ethan wakes up in a hospital room, his body aching, his mind clouded with confusion. His mother sits by his bedside, holding Lily, her face streaked with tears. There's an emptiness in the room, a void where his father should have been. Ethan tries to speak, but his voice comes out hoarse. His mother takes his hand, her grip firm, but she doesn't say a word. The silence is deafening. "Where's Dad?" Ethan whispers, though he already knows the answer. The look on his mother's face is enough. His father is gone, taken by a reckless driver who won't face the consequences. The next few days pass in a blur of grief. The family's world is shattered. The once vibrant house is now filled with sorrow. At the funeral, Ethan stands beside his mother and sister, dressed in black, his face expressionless. People approach, offering their condolences, but Ethan barely hears them. His mind is consumed by the image of his father's final moments. As the casket is lowered into the ground, Ethan clenches his fists. He doesn't cry. Not now, not ever. He makes a vow to himself that day. Victor Langford, the man responsible for his father's death, will pay for what he's done. In the months that follow, life only gets worse for Ethan and his family. Without his father, the family's financial stability crumbles. The business his father worked so hard to build is taken over by others, and they lose their home. Ethan watches helplessly as his mother, once so strong, slowly breaks down under the weight of grief and hardship. We lost everything. Our home, our sense of security, and most of all, the man who held our family together. Victor Langford, the wealthy businessman behind the accident, walks free. No charges are filed. His lawyers twist the narrative, claiming it was an unfortunate accident, and his money ensures that the story disappears from the public eye. But Ethan doesn't forget. He can't forget. He watches as Victor continues with his life, untouched by the tragedy he caused, and the rage inside Ethan grows. Years have passed. Ethan is now in his mid-20s, hardened by the pain of his past. He's not the same boy who lost everything. He's a man who has spent years plotting, preparing, and learning the ins and outs of Victor Langford's empire. He's worked his way into the shadows, quietly positioning himself to take Victor down. Ethan stands in his small, dimly lit apartment, the walls covered in notes, photos, and documents, all connected to Victor. Every detail of Victor's life is laid out before him, a roadmap to his revenge. He's no longer driven by grief. He's driven by cold, calculated anger. It's taken years to get here, but now I have everything I need to take Victor Langford down. I will destroy his world piece by piece until there's nothing left. Ethan's plan is set in motion. He's infiltrated Victor's company under a false identity, slowly working his way into the man's inner circle. His goal is not just to take Victor's money or ruin his reputation, it's to make him suffer the way Ethan did. But as Ethan gets closer to his target, something unexpected happens. He meets Isabella Langford, Victor's daughter. She's everything he didn't expect. Kind, compassionate, completely unaware of her father's monstrous actions. Despite his best efforts to keep his distance, Ethan finds himself drawn to her. She's the one person who could ruin everything, but I can't help it. She's different.